It was the dry season in the small town of Alemba, and 13-year-old Adiz had been unusually quiet for days. Her mother, Mama Neka, noticed how she winced when she bent to fetch water or when she stood up from her mat. At first, they thought it was just menstrual cramps, but the days rolled into weeks, and Adiz's stomach began to swell at an alarming rate. Her father, Papa Chitty, a schoolteacher known for his strict principles, grew concerned, but also suspicious. One morning, Mama Neka barged into Adiz's room, demanding answers. "What are you hiding from us?" she shouted. Adiz, confused and frightened, sat up slowly. Her mother pulled up her blouse without permission and gasped at the rounded stomach. Papa Chitty entered, eyes blazing. "Who did this to you?" he bellowed. Adiz blinked, unsure of what they meant. "Who got you pregnant?" her mother repeated. Overwhelmed, Adiz looked around the room, and pointed to Bruno, the family's black and white dog. Silence fell. Mama Neka screamed and fell to the floor. Papa Chitty staggered and then rushed outside in disbelief. Neighbors gathered as shouts filled the compound. Some were amused, others horrified. "The child is possessed," one woman said. "No, the dog is a demon," another declared. The next day, Bruno was tied to a tree and people came to see the accused dog. Adiz sat silently in her room, hungry and scared, not understanding why everyone looked at her like a cursed child. Papa Chitty insisted they take Adiz to a prophet. In a nearby village, Prophet Elisha placed anointing oil on her forehead and muttered incantations. "The spirit of beastly desire has entered this girl," he said with dramatic flair. He ordered 7 days of dry fasting for the family and threatened that if Bruno was not slaughtered, the curse would remain. But when Papa Chitty returned home, his instincts wrestled with reason. Could a dog really impregnate a girl? Days later, Adiz fainted. Her mother screamed for help, and she was rushed to the local health center. The nurse on duty took one look at her bloated stomach and immediately called in the town's only doctor. Blood tests were taken, and an ultrasound was performed. The results shocked the parents. Adiz had an advanced stomach infection, a buildup of fluid due to a condition called peritonitis. It had nothing to do with pregnancy. Nothing to do with Bruno. Papa Chitty and Mama Neka wept in silence as the doctor explained the risks of delayed treatment. "She needs emergency surgery," he said sternly. Shame overwhelmed them both. The girl they had accused, shamed, and even beaten slightly out of discipline, was completely innocent. Even Bruno, the dog they had nearly killed, had suffered for nothing. They sat by Adiz's hospital bed, clutching her hand as the doctor prepared her for the operation. The surgery was successful. Adiz slept for hours, her body finally relieved of the swelling and pain. When she woke up and saw her parents by her side, she smiled weakly. "Is Bruno okay?" she whispered. Her mother sobbed. Papa Chitty left the room briefly and returned with a small stuffed dog toy. "Bruno is fine," he said, guilt thick in his voice. "And we are so sorry." Adiz nodded slowly, not fully understanding why her parents had looked so frightened and ashamed. When Adiz returned home after several days in the hospital, the family's compound was quieter. Bruno was untied and wagged his tail as she walked in. Her parents had told the neighbors the truth, about the misdiagnosis, about their mistake, and how fear had made them blind. The townspeople gossiped for a while, but the scandal lost its shine without the fantasy of beastly acts. Life moved on. But for Adiz, trust would take time to rebuild. Her parents treated her more gently from then on, and took her for regular checkups. Papa Chitty even started reading medical books, and Mama Neka attended community health seminars. They both learned to ask questions instead of assuming the worst. Adiz, once so shy and quiet, began to open up more. She joined a school health club and shared her experience to educate others about misdiagnosis, fear, and shame. People began to listen, and even apologize. By the following year, Adiz had grown stronger. The trauma faded into a story they could speak about with care, not just regret. Bruno remained her closest companion. And whenever visitors came, and asked about that strange time, Papa Chitty would sigh, rub his forehead, and say, "Next time, we will believe our child first, before believing our fears."